Well, probably one of the biggest things I'm going to miss is a tradition that every fall I would observe the ninth graders that they'd come in and they were so just nervous and unsure of themselves. And after school got going for a couple of weeks, I'd keep watching and see who was sitting by themselves or just not interacting. And so I would go up and introduce myself and just make sure that as if we passed in the hall, I'd make eye contact and get their attention and smile. And then I made them my mission over the next 4 years, just to keep an eye on them. Not they never knew, but that I just watch them. And it was a wonderful thing to watch these young kids, boys and girls, coming into ninth graders and graduate as young men and women and watch them go out into the world. It was just something that I treasure and will hold dear to my heart. And so I hope that the person that comes after me will carry on that tradition and just make a difference in someone's life here.
I don't know what really makes me a different teacher. I think I try to get personally involved in what everyone's doing, so I know what they need, how I can help them, and how I can fix things, which is what often the question I get asked, how can I fix this? So that's pretty much my approach is really just to be there to enhance whatever their ideas are. I think the most important thing about art for students is that it's a time when you can manage the world around you on a piece of paper or canvas or screen, and you can create the things the way that you want them to be. So you can alter, change, move in, move things out the way you want them to be, and something that reflects you as a person or reflects your ideas about something. So you're not constrained by the reality of what you see. You can change things, you can alter things, move things. So that's what I think is important to know and understand.
Some funny story is sometimes the kids forgot the homework, do not do the homework, and the second day, and they're afraid I get upset, so they pick a Gunston flower and come to me and show me, Mr. Shepardson, I love you. I say, oh no, quick pick Gunston's flower. Hi, I'm Weixing Shepardson. I'm the math teacher. I've been here for 19 years. When I come to the Gunston first day, and I just asked last time, the principal is Jeff. I said, I teach in China for a long time, so I think I'm a good teacher. And if I'm teaching, I hope you can let me teach. And I said, yes, absolutely. You can do whatever you think is right to teach the class. That's why I come to the Gunston. I think I most missed is people. Here, when I first come here, that's why they say, why you come to the Gunston and stay here for 19 years. When I first come here, I feel like a Gunston, like a family, like a teacher and the kids. And then they really like a family for me, Maryland, I don't have too many, how to say the no. Only I know is a Gunston, so. That's what I think about. That's what I think. Sometimes I see, I go anywhere, and then sometimes I see the parents, even I do not know. They just say, Miss Shepardson. And I say, who's this? And he will say, she will say, no, how to say, no homework, no game. That's why before I said it's no homework, no game. And then they just use the way I talk. They tell me that, oh, that's my students, the parents. So I think they they really appreciate whatever I do because they understand that even though they always say, oh, Miss Shepardson, only you give like a 70 problem or 100 problem, but they still do whatever I ask them to. So I always believe the discipline.
Dear Mrs. Shepardson, this is Davy Song, sending my best wishes to you from Emory University. We, as Gunston students and alumni, are forever grateful to you for traveling across the entire world, for landing in Centerville, Maryland, for bestowing knowledge and wisdom upon generations of Gunston students, and for bringing constant wholesomeness and laughter to the entire Gunston community with your oftentimes quirky comments and your iconic "Ayo." Your influence on us stretched way beyond mathematical concepts. You taught us perseverance and love. You taught us how to tackle difficulties always with a smile. And you taught us how to stand up and move on when we fall down. To generations of international students, you have been such a mother figure. So many of us can no longer imagine our Gunston years without you, because we have already shared those scintillating memories with you. Please remember that you will always have a very special place in our hearts, and I wish life treats you kind, just like the way you have always treated us.
Weixing is coming to the close of 19 years with the Gunston School as a remarkable math teacher. Two things come to mind when I think of Weixing. One is she has the highest standards, and any of you who have been in Weixing's classes know this. But her high standards are specifically because she carries on her shoulders the weight of the United States of America. She feels that it's her responsibility to prepare our students to go forth and make sure that math and science and technology in our country is safe and sound and sure. The number of students that she's hosted over the years, they're more than we can count. And in her hosting, she has covered the tri-state area uncountable times to make sure that every single student was delivered to standardized testing on time with the right materials, even though the student may have asked for a ride only seconds before. I think we all owe Weixing Shepardson a debt of gratitude for her dedication and her camaraderie.
I've truly never known anyone like Weixing Shepardson. And when I first arrived at Gunston, Mrs. Grabbis said to me, just expect that in the first few months of each year, you're going to hear a few things about Weixing's class and her teaching style. However, once the students get accustomed to her and realize how high her expectations are and how much she cares about them, these concerns usually evaporate. Generations of Gunston students have reported to me how grateful they are to Miss Shep, as she has unlocked the mysteries of mathematical thinking for them. Every school has legendary teachers, and Miss Shep is perhaps our most legendary. The extra help hours she offers, her unyielding belief in each student's ability to achieve, and in the end, the pride she takes in their results. She's the kind of teacher who helps students to realize that there is more inside of themselves than they themselves realized. For 2 decades, Weixing has also been a special touchstone for Gunston's international students as they navigate the extraordinary journey from the Far East to the Eastern Shore. She's provided endless counsel and priceless bridges to understanding, translation, and cultural insight. Over the years, she has been one of our most dedicated host parents, supporting the growth and development of dozens of international students. For me, my most memorable experience with Miss Shepardson was the 2 weeks we spent together in China, visiting international families. As we went from city to city and region to region and meal to meal, she was an invaluable guide, interpreter, and cuisine explainer. Here's the main thing I learned about Miss Shep in China. Miss Shep is Miss Shep, whether she's in China or the United States. Among students and parents from both the United States and China, she's seen as incredibly bright, funny, loving, as well as a revered and relentlessly dedicated teacher of mathematics. I cannot tell you, Miss Shepardson, how much we're going to miss you.
The way I ended up at Gunston was kind of unusual. I had completed 30 years at Kent County High School, and so did my wife. And So she was retiring, and she decided she wanted to go to theological seminary, and I was looking for a change. And one day in early August, Christy called me, so would you be interested in a full-time position? To which I answered, write me in now. I don't know what it's going to take what hurdles I have to jump to get through, but write me in now. I will be there, trust me. That's how I ended up here at Gunston. I came here in late August of '99, and I've been here ever since. The teacher I replaced, we were very, very similar in so many ways, so it was a perfect fit. And so it was kind of a flawless kind of transition for me. And I guess I was really surprised by how welcoming everybody was. I had 2 students come to me the very first week I was there and say, welcome to Gunston. We're really glad you're here, and if there's anything we can do to make this transition easier, we'll be glad to do it.
Ben Dize came to Gunston following a long illness of one of our esteemed colleagues, his predecessor. And when I called Ben and offered him the position, he asked me if he could have a little bit of time to think about it. 22 seconds later, my phone rang, and Ben accepted the offer to teach at Gunston. And he did so with grace and humility and aplomb. And he helped us transition through a very difficult time very smoothly. And we'll always be grateful for that. Ben is coming to the close of 22 years at Gunston, 52 years in teaching, and he and his wife Karen Dize have been a part of my life for 45 years. He's a deeply talented artist, a gifted educator, a life coach, and he has a side gig as a gardener. And a special gift for me is often fresh veggies at my doorstep after a very long day. We appreciate you, Ben, and we're going to miss you.
Hi, my name is Becky Schmier. I'm the business manager here at Gunston. I came to Gunston in 2005, and it was one of the most exciting days of my life to be able to come and apply for this position. I really was doubtful I would get it. Came for my first interview and found out that Mr. Woodworth, the headmaster, then was from New England, and we had a lot to talk about. He knew my tiny community college where I went, and so we were very excited to meet each other. So I made it to the second round of interviews, and we went from 16 down to 6. And I even further thought, I don't have a chance for this job. And lo and behold, a few days later, he called and asked, would you like to come work for me? And I was just beyond my wildest dreams that I could be at Gunston. So that was in June 2005, and that's when I fell in love with Gunston.
Becky. Can't believe you're actually going to leave us. But I want to thank you. I want to thank you for 16 years of service. I want to thank you for 16 years of putting up with us when we didn't have the right forms in, or we didn't get a purchase order, or I had a last minute item that I needed like right now. Thank you for spending the time taking care of us. And what I recall and what I really cherish is your first year here, the first summer, as we were transitioning to you in the role of business manager. I loved our lunches. I loved sitting out under the trees, getting to know you personally, and also helping you get to know Gunston. Those are moments that began our friendship, which will carry long into the future. And I also want to take time to express to you my deep and sincere thanks. During the year that I served the school as interim, you were my right hand. You were right there. You helped me understand everything that I needed to know during a year where there were lots of questions, and we were making a big transition to a new head of school, and there was lots to understand in the business operations of the school. And I appreciated our partnership. I appreciated our conversations. I appreciated the long hours. And I think we all appreciate you for what you've done to keep a steady hand at the wheel through the 16 years that you've been with Gunston. Thank you, Becky.
I think one of the most exciting for me was Everdell Hall and that renovation, because I worked closely with Mr. Lewis and the board, and we really had a build it and they will come, and because we knew we had to beef up our facilities to match our mission and what we offer to our families. And so it was just like a hold your breath moment and wonder, how is this all going to play out? And it was just so exciting. I remember standing there and watching them tear an apartment down in the summertime. A lot of the demo work was done in the summer, and to watch that just unfold in front of our eyes, and to see that our donors stepped up to the plate and really came through for us. And then the result of our enrollment just soaring. It was just a wonderful thing.
I first met Becky Schmier in the summer of 2010, but in terms of the economy, it was the dead of winter. The Eastern Shore was navigating the aftermath of the 2008 financial crisis, and like many independent schools, Gunston faced significant challenges and financial stress. That summer, she and I spent many hours together in my office, where she patiently tutored a newly minted head of school regarding the various elements of the Gunston budget. From those first meetings has grown one of the most meaningful professional partnerships of my adult life, and with one of the most kindest and dedicated individuals that I've ever known. Over the years, here's what I've learned about Becky. First, she is bright and financially savvy. It only takes a few minutes of conversation with Becky discussing her negotiations with our oil provider to comprehend her high level of financial sophistication. To most families and Gunston employees, this depth of knowledge is mostly invisible, but our Board of Trustees regularly marvels at her ability to carefully steward the school's resources. Having managed elements of 3 crises with her, the sudden passing of my predecessor, the 2008 financial crisis, and the most recent COVID pandemic, I've learned that she is incredibly cool in the highest moments of stress. Second, Becky is deeply empathetic, and she understands that for the vast majority of Gunston families, tuition is the single largest, most important, and often most stressful monthly expense in their budget. Over the years, many Gunston families have shared with me how Becky has caringly partnered with them to sustain this investment in their children's education. It's not easy to be the person who makes the business phone calls for the school, but Becky does this with exceeding grace. Finally, Becky is an ideal colleague. She knows that her primary role as the business manager is to support the educational mission of the school, and she sees every dollar of school resources as an investment in the future of our students and in the essential livelihoods of school employees. For this reason, she's beloved and trusted by her colleagues, and we all rely on her for expertise and counsel. She's the kind of person who loses sleep because she's preoccupied about the needs of others. Now that she's retiring, we're the ones that get to lose sleep, knowing how much her presence will be missed. As you might expect, she departs with the school seeing record enrollment and with our balance sheet in excellent shape. Becky, you will be missed so deeply and so dearly by all of us, especially me.